So thank you for joining me. This presentation is for students and parents and families that are interested in getting involved in the College Credit Plus program. So let's get started. So what is the College Credit Plus program? This program is simply a way for students that would like to get a jump start on college courses to do that while they're in high school. And the big selling point here is these students are going to be able to receive college credit, take college classes while in high school, and also get high school credit for those classes that they are taking. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 deal on that. This program is available to college-ready students grades 7 through 12. Most of the students in our building that get involved are 11th or 12th graders. We have had other students get involved with the program, but that's usually about the grade level that our students start to really take advantage of this program. Now, the key term here for these students is the idea of college-ready students. And that is not for us as a district to decide on. We don't pick and choose who's college ready and who is not. The universities, the colleges will decide that based on GPA and test scores and things like that. And then you as a student and as a parent have to decide that as well. Is my student mature enough, driven enough, organized enough to be successful at the college level? So that's the criteria we're looking for a student that would like to get involved in this program. There's three main ways that students can take advantage of this program. One is traditional on-campus education, where a student would travel to campus, take a class there, sit in classes with other college students, and then often come back to our building and take some other classes with us. So that's one way you travel to campus. Another way that students take advantage of this program is by taking online classes. So a student will apply to college, sign up for an online class, and then all of the interactions they have through that class are going to be online, obviously. And for the most part, students who do this would just be given a period of time during the day with us where they'd have a study hall in the computer lab or something like that, and they'd be able to work on that online college class here in school during the day with us. And then the third way that students can take advantage of this program is through what's called dual enrollment. And what dual enrollment is, and we'll get into it a little bit more later, is just where a student will take a college class in our building with one of our teachers who are accredited through a local university. So right now we're offering 3 dual enrollment courses in our building, a couple of English courses and a speech class through the University of Findlay that's taught by one of our teachers in our building. So that's the 3 ways. You travel to campus, take a class live, take an online class, or a dual enrollment class with one of our teachers. So there's some stipulations to how we can take these classes. There's some ceilings on how many hours you can take, things like that. You'd have to take a lot of classes to hit these ceilings. We're really not worried about it, but still we're going to go over it. One is you can only take 30 credit hours in one high school academic year. So to hit that ceiling, a student would have to take 4 to 5 college classes a semester, which we don't typically run into. And then the other side of that is 120 hours over a high school career, over the life of the program for any single student, which is the equivalent of like a bachelor's degree. So we also haven't seen anything like that. But it's just something to be aware of. You can take more hours than that. It's just that at that point, students have to start paying for those courses on their own. And then the final thing is that a student, while in this program, still has to maintain a full-time schedule between their high school and college classes. And that's something that as we schedule these courses, I will make sure, working with students that they get everything that they need just to remain full-time high school students while taking this program, but still something to think about. All right, so when a student takes a class, we see this little conversion chart here. 3 to 5 semester hours equals 1 full high school credit, and then we have 2 semester hours equals 2/3, and 1 semester hour equals 1/3. We don't have to worry about the 1 and 2 semester hour classes so much. The vast majority of college courses that our students take are going to be 3 to 5 semester hour courses. So the big thing we want to take away from this piece of information here is when a student takes a 1 semester course, they're going to be given the equivalent of a full year of a high school course. So if a student, say, takes a semester stats class, like just an entry-level math class, they're going to enter into that stat class in September, and they're going to finish that class in December. So it's going to be a semester, but they will get the equivalent of a full year of a high school class. They're going to get 1 full credit, and that's for any subject that they take. If they take an English class or anything like that, and some students might take an English class first semester and another English class second semester, and they would get the equivalent of 2 full credits of in that course that would apply toward their graduation requirements and things like that. So it's almost like, you're getting, double the credit for taking these college courses, and it's a way that students can really get ahead on their graduation requirements and things like that. When a student takes a college course, what we do as a district is we look at what course they're taking and we apply it to their high school transcript as whatever course we can define it as. So let's say a student takes that stats class like I talked about earlier. We're going to go ahead and move that onto their high school transcript as a high school stats class, and they're going to get credit for that. If they take a composition class or a literature class, that's going to be, considered one of their English credits as we look at it as far as graduation requirements go. So a couple of things to keep in mind. One, even though you're taking college courses, you still have to meet every graduation requirement that the state of Ohio outlines. Again, I will work with students and families to make sure that we are on track and that we are doing that. And also, when we're looking at these things, we want to plan for if a student is looking to get an honors diploma or something like that, how are certain college classes going to be classified when we move them onto a high school, transcript. So those are some things we want to keep in mind. Okay, benefits. There are some major benefits to this program. It is super popular, and for some obvious reasons. One, and the most obvious reason, is that we're talking about free college classes. College is expensive, and this is a way to get ahead of the game and get some courses under your belt and do it for free, which is an awesome thing. Two, it expands the curriculum, and this actually is really great for a school like for students of our school, because being in a small school has some really great benefits, but it also has some downfalls. And one of them is that we don't have a huge course catalog. We don't offer a ton of courses because we are smaller. But when we look at the College Credit Plus program, you have access to every class that the local universities and colleges offer. So, if you wanted to take a psychology class or a sociology class or a photography class, things that we don't offer, this is a way to kind of check out that curriculum while being a high school student. So that's kind of a neat thing. And then the final benefit, and what I think is probably the most beneficial part of this program, is the fact that it allows students to wade into the college experience. We've seen in the past that when students don't have any college experience, they graduate from high school and they just jump right in the deep end, and everything changes at once. They're not living at home anymore. They have to handle their own responsibilities. They have to do their own laundry, and they're responsible for food and getting themselves up in the morning and going to class on their own and all this kind of stuff, we found that some students, really struggle with that massive change happening all at once. So what this program does is it gives them some feel for what the academic experience of college is like. They're going to know what it's like to work with a college professor, what it's like to visit a tutoring lab, what it's like to handle all of the responsibility that goes along with being a college student before they step on campus for the first time after they graduate. So I think that's another huge benefit. So again, when we're looking at potential benefits, we've got free classes, a giant library of courses they can take, and getting some college experience before they step onto campus. And those are all huge benefits. Now, risks. You'll notice I didn't even have room for a picture on this slide because there are some major risks that go along with this program. One, earlier I said, hey, free college, that's cool. But it's free as long as you pass the classes and do what you're supposed to do. If a student does not pass the course that they sign up for, they're going to have financial responsibilities for that. They're going to have to pay for the course. They're going to have to pay for their book. And we're talking, several $100s in most situations that they may be responsible for if they do not pass that class. It's going to affect their GPA and their class rank if they don't do well. So if you get whatever grades you get in that college class, not only does that go on your college transcript, it also is right on your high school transcript as well. So, if you're a straight A student and you get a B or a C or anything else in that college class, that's going right on your college or on your high school transcript. That's going to affect that GPA twice as much as your other classes too, because like we discussed before, a college class is worth a full year of high school coursework. Reduced opportunities for participating in high school activities. Now, this isn't anything that we push. You are still a North Baltimore student, no matter how many college classes you take. It's just the idea that, if you are, especially if you are only a part-time student in our building, if you're traveling to campus, you may miss things. You may miss things like, a pep rally or other, pieces of high school that your peers may experience if they're here all day, every day. So we do the best that we can to make sure that our College Credit Plus students are informed, but they are going to miss things. So it's just something to keep in mind. You are starting to leave that high school experience a little early. If we're starting these college classes, you may miss some of that stuff. Scheduling conflicts. I'm going to work with every single student individually to make sure that we get them in as many classes that they want to take here and work with their college schedule, but we can't guarantee that they're going to get to take the courses they want to take in our building if it doesn't match up with their college schedule. But like I said, we're going to do the best we can on that. And then finally, just a small thing, but something that pops up every now and then, we want to keep in mind that your vacations for high school courses and your college courses may not always line up. So if you have a big like spring break trip planned or something like that, understand that if you're taking classes through Owens or BG or Finley or whoever, their spring break might not be the same as our spring break. So when you're on spring break from your college course, you may still have to, show up for your classes in our building. When you're on spring break with us, if Owens or Finley or BG isn't on spring break, you still have responsibilities to those courses as well. So just some things we want to keep in mind. Going back to if students don't, perform well, if they fail a class or if they receive a low grade in a class, they could be put on academic probation. This will be done by the university, not by us as the high school. Academic probation usually means that a student would be limited in the number of courses they could take. And if they, don't work out of academic probation, they may be prohibited from taking future courses. Another issue is if students fail or withdraw from several courses, it could impact future financial aid eligibility, something we want to keep in mind. And also, what we've discussed earlier, these grades are permanent. They permanently go on the high school transcript. They also permanently go on the college transcript. So that's why we always want to make sure that students are 100% ready to move forward with this program. If they get a really poor grade in a class that they took as a sophomore or junior in high school or something like that in one of these college classes, I would hate to see that affect their ability to get into whatever grad school or something like that later down the road. So when we are talking about the seriousness and the impact that this program can have, it can be enormously positive. It can also come with huge negative effects. So we want to make sure that every student and every family is totally informed and totally ready, and they really think about the big step that they're taking in this program. Okay, we're going to spend the next couple of minutes here just really highlighting the difference between what it means to be a high school student versus a college student. Now, I don't know what it is about. I think about movies when I look at this slide, and if you look like at any movie, all I know is that in movies, high school students hang out inside by lockers, and college students hang out outside in the grass. So we're going to start there. Okay, so if you are thinking about the CCP program, step one, be ready to just sit in the grass with your friends and chat with your laptop out. That's the biggest difference that I know of from watching movies. Okay, but there are other differences too. So one, a big difference is the way the grades are calculated. In high school, a lot of times you have a ton of grades, a ton of graded work. You have quizzes and tests and homework assignments and projects and even class participation and all kinds of other stuff like that. And you may think, well, that is a bummer. I hate that we have so much stuff graded. But really, what you may not realize is that these assignments, participation, and homework are a nice cushion if you don't do well on a test. In college, you may not find that. In college, there are often fewer graded assignments. A lot of times it might be a handful of essays. It might be, a couple of unit tests and a final exam. And on one hand, this might sound good. Well, there's only a couple of graded assignments. That's all I really have to do. But on the other hand, we have to understand that that means if I don't do well on one of those couple of graded assignments, it's going to have a massive impact on my grade. So when we are, thinking about these college courses, we have to understand that, every single assignment, exam, essay, whatever, is going to take 100% effort and have to be done as well as you can do, because it's going to carry huge weight in that course. Study time in high school. Most high school students have, between, 1 to 3 hours of homework today or a day. In college, the rule is that for every hour you spend in the classroom per week, you should spend 3 hours outside of the classroom working on that assignment. So that means if I have a 3 credit hour, Spanish class, and we meet on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, an hour each, that means I should spend 9 hours outside of that class working on that class. So what does that mean? That means doing the required readings, doing my homework, studying for tests, all that kind of stuff, going to the library, to the tutoring lab, if I feel like I need to do that. So, one college class on its own, almost treat it like a part-time job. You've got to put the time in if you want to be successful. All right, so the way that information is given between college and high school is very different. In high school, teachers do a really great job of giving information, giving support, reminding you that something is due or that something needs to be completed. Giving study guides to tests, doing all these sorts of things to help you be successful. That's less likely to happen when we're taking a college level course. A lot of the information is going to be given outside of the classroom. A college professor may say, okay, read chapters 2 and 3 before our next class, which might be 2 days later. And that might be 50 some pages. And then you might have to do that again, later in the week before the next class. And that information may be on the test. So, make sure that, I guess the thing is, if you're looking at this program, you need to be a very motivated and independent learner. There's going to be a lot of information that's going to be given in class in a college course, through lecture or other things like that. But there's also a huge responsibility that when you walk out of that classroom, you're also going to work on your own to really get comfortable with the material. And these professors, you might be in a lecture hall with 150 kids, something like that. They're not going to notice if you're not there. They're not going to notice if you didn't do the reading. They're not going to notice or check in with you if you didn't do too well on a test the way that a high school teacher would. They're just going to record the grades and move on. So that's your responsibility to make sure that you have a good understanding and are solid with the material, which is a little bit different than what we might experience in high school. Also, what we're talking about this, there's a little note at the bottom there. It says your syllabus is a sacred document. You have to be on top of your stuff when you're in these college classes. Okay, you're not going to get 100 reminders that there's a test coming up, or that a paper is due, or that you have to do these readings, or that you have to do this, essay or speech on this date. A lot of times it's going to be on a syllabus. It might be mentioned, once or twice in class, but other than that, the expectation is you've got the syllabus, you know what's due and when it's due, and you need to be looking down the road and start working ahead on these things before the night before. Okay, for a lot of students looking at the College Credit Plus program, remembering at 10 p.m. on a Thursday night before something's due has been good enough to get by. If you do that in a college level course, you are very likely going to struggle. Okay, so help. The staff in this building do a great job of identifying when somebody needs help and making sure they get that help. Again, not going to happen at the college level. College professors have set office hours, and they say, hey, here are my office hours. If you have questions, it's on you to come find me. Your college professors it's not likely they're going to seek you out if they think that you're struggling. They're going to say, hey, you're in college. If you need help, come get help. The other big thing that I would just stress that every single person that takes a college class should do is go make themselves familiar with whatever tutoring or help they can find on campus for their classes. Every campus has got a library or a study lab or something where you will have students available to tutor you in whatever subject you are taking. They will proofread papers. They will help you, with your math homework, with any class you're taking. They've got students that have taken that class and that can help you. But again, that's on you to go and seek out that help. So it's very important that if you need help, you go find it, because that's a big difference at the college level, like we're discussing. Also, when you take these classes, again, we have a note at the bottom. It says high school teachers are not your college tutors. Our teachers are great. If you have a little question, if you're writing a paper and you're like, hey, you go to Miss Lauer, Miss Huffman, and you say, I'm having trouble, getting this thesis statement to fit with, my introductory paragraph, something like that. Of course, they'll look it over and they'll help you out. Of course, Mr. Lamb or Mr. Rollinson or whoever will help you if you're stuck on a math problem. But it is not a thing that you are going to be doing every week. If you need sustained help, if you need long-term help with your course, our teachers are not here for that. They have students in this building that are taking their classes that they have to work with. You have to remember, you are a college student. You need to get help in the same way that a college student does, like we talked about earlier. Go to the tutoring lab, go to your professor's office hours, not the teacher here that you know, okay? Okay, for all the parents watching, the parent role, we're cutting the cord a little bit here. In high school, you can email teachers, you can call the high school, talk to the principal or the counselor, you can come in for conferences. You have a very interactive role with the educational process. Not the case in college. It's unlikely that a professor will answer an email from a parent because the parent's not in their classroom. We're talking about college students. They need to be independent. They need to handle this stuff on their own. So that's something we want to keep in mind when we're thinking about how independent, how motivated, how driven is the student in this situation. I will tell you that students that do not do well in these classes, it's not because they're not, quote, smart enough. It's usually because they are not super organized, or they procrastinate, or they don't study, or they think they can, get by with the same way they get by in high school. You have to, really, like I keep saying, be independent, be driven, be super focused and organized to do well in these classes. And if those words don't describe you as a student, then I'd really think about, whether or not we're ready to take this step. So as you're thinking about this, really think about, what are your academic goals? What do you want? Why are you taking these classes? If it's for the reasons we said before, because you want to get some college experience, get ahead in college, take some free classes, that's great. If it's because some of my friends are taking these classes and I feel like I should, because that's what I'm supposed to do, like, I don't know, that's not a super great reason. So understand that this is a decision that every student's going to have to make for themselves, and really think about, what exactly is their goal while in high school. If you have a 4.0 right now and your goal is to maintain that 4.0, and that's your number one goal ahead of everything else, keep that in mind, because these college courses are by no means a guaranteed A or anything like that. They are hard work and people struggle. So again, just think about what you want in your high school career, what you're working towards, and how these college courses potentially fit in for you. Okay, we're going to cover a couple smaller points here, some more of the specifics. Athletic eligibility, you're still a North Baltimore student. You still obviously can participate in sports and all those types of things. You just have to maintain a minimum of passing 5 classes. So with college classes, this is pretty easy to do, because like we said, one college class is actually worth 2 high school classes. So, getting that 5 credit threshold isn't too tough. But one thing we do need to keep in mind is that since it's worth 2, if a student fails a class, it's like failing 2 classes. So if a student doesn't do well in one of these college courses, it is a very quick path to becoming ineligible for athletics. So we want to be aware of that. Summer courses, can students take summer courses? They absolutely can. I would strongly recommend that if a student has never taken a college course before, that they don't take a summer course as their first college experience. A lot of times these summer courses are condensed. They may be what typically would be, an 18-week course might be done in 9 weeks. So they often move much faster, and students can become overwhelmed very quickly. So it is an option. It is out there. If you're interested, you can certainly take advantage of that. But again, I would just say be careful with those, because they move pretty quick. When we are taking these college courses, one thing we want to keep in mind is, will these courses transfer to the school that I want to go to after I graduate from high school? Now, obviously, if you stay at the same school, if you're taking college classes through the University of Findlay, and after you graduate, you're going to attend the University of Findlay, then that's going to be fine. But if I'm taking classes at Owens while in high school, and maybe after I graduate, I want to go to Ohio State or Kent State or, the University of Toledo or whatever, I may have questions about, do those classes at Owens count? Now, for the most part, most of the introductory classes that our students take, for the most part, you're not going to have a problem with those transfer credits. But it's still a good idea to go on and check. There is a website link listed here that allows you to, put in your 2 schools and say, I'm taking these classes at this school. Will they count at this school? And it's a really easy way to make sure that all the courses that I'm taking will count. If you're ever unsure, you can always check with whatever university you are at or the university you're going to. So if you're taking classes at Owens, if you talk to them, they can probably help you figure out if those classes are going to count somewhere else. Or you can contact the university you'd like to attend later. If you want to attend UT after graduation, just get in touch with an advisor there and say, hey, I'm taking these classes right now at this university. Will those count for me? Just to make sure. This one, I mean, by law, the public universities cannot charge for books and private universities may charge for books. We haven't had that issue yet, so I don't think it's anything we really need to put too much weight into. For the most part, all your books and fees are going to be covered. Like I said, I haven't run into a situation where a private university has caused students to pay extra out of pocket, but I suppose it could happen, but that's not something that we've run into. North Baltimore does not cover parking expenses, so we will not pay for your parking pass. Most of the universities will cover that for you. So when you are meeting with your advisor, especially if you're traveling to campus, make sure you have a conversation with them and say, hey, I'm going to be taking classes on campus. How do I go about getting my parking pass? And then also making sure you know where to park and what lots are available to you and stuff like that. Make sure you do that. We did actually I had a student one time bring me a parking ticket. They just said, hey, I'm a College Credit Plus student, Mr. Kipling. I don't have to pay for anything. So here's my parking ticket. So, oh, we went too far. Okay. So I had said we were going to talk about dual enrollment a little bit later. And here is the courses that we offer. So again, dual enrollment is when we have one of our teachers who are accredited through a university who is basically like a professor at that university teaching in our building. That's what it is. So our junior senior English teacher, Miss Lauer, is accredited through the University of Findlay. She is for 2 periods, a day. She is a Findlay professor in our building. So she teaches English 104 and 106. English 104 is first semester, English 106 is second semester. Those are both writing composition classes. So, it's going to be a lot of essay writing, things like that. If you are a junior and have had Ms. Lauer as a teacher, speak with her about it. If you are on the fence about whether or not you should take that course, and she will let you know. If you have not had her as a teacher yet, what you're going to have to do is submit a writing sample to her to show her, where you're at with your writing. She'll look at that and kind of give you an idea of whether or not you would be a good fit for that class. Make sure that you are acting quickly with this because that class fills up pretty fast. But we'll go from there. She's also teaching a speech class second semester this year. So there's the opportunity to take 9 credit hours of dual enrollment with us in this building, which is a pretty neat thing. Again, if you have more questions on that, you can definitely talk to Ms. Lauer about it or shoot them my way, and I will answer any questions you have. Okay, so if you are interested, step 1, and I attached this form in an email I sent out to all of our juniors, is complete the intent to participate form. It's got to be turned in by May 1st. Turn it in before then. Because all that form says is, hey, I'm thinking about it. That's all that form means. If you decide later down the road that you do not want to do College Credit Plus and you let me know that, no big deal. But if you're thinking about it and you don't turn this form in and then decide after May 1st that you'd like to participate in College Credit Plus, I can't help you. So I would tell you, get this form in as soon as possible, even if you're not sure, just because it's one of those things, you make sure you get it in. If you change your mind later, that's fine. And then once you get that in, start applying to the colleges that you'd like to attend. So if you want to do that dual enrollment course that we talked about a slide previous, those are through the University of Findlay. You have to apply to the University of Findlay to be accepted into those courses. If you'd like to take a course through Owens or Bowling Green State University, you have to apply to those colleges to take those courses. After that, you're going to get an email from the university that's going to help you set up a meeting with an academic advisor. And from there, you will schedule those college classes with the academic advisor at that school. What I'd ask you to do is just communicate with me during that process about what classes you're thinking about taking, when they might be, are you taking online classes, on-campus classes, all that kind of stuff, so that we can kind of all work together to make sure you're getting, you know, the courses that you need, you're getting the courses that you want, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so give me that intent to participate form as soon as you can. Apply to the school. If you need help with applying to a school, come down, talk to me about it. We will get it taken care of. Okay, so we're going to quickly cover 3 schools that most of our students look to attend to take College Credit Plus classes. One is Bowling Green State University. You can apply online. You can see that there are deadlines there at the bottom for application. If you would like to take a summer class, is April 15th. A fall class would be May 15th. You can email them if you want more information. Right now, the only major assessment, or I mean, hurdle you need to get in is going to be your cumulative GPA of a 3.0 or higher. In the past, they've looked at using ACT scores or another test called the AccuPlacer that students have to take to get in. But due to, you know, COVID and all the hurdles that we've had to face due to that, they're for this year, they're removing those test requirements, as far as I know, unless something changes. So for right now, 3.0 GPA, it looks like they're going to waive the need for an ACT or any other tests to get into those courses. Same thing for Owens. There's the application site there. They also are waiving the scores to get in. So I believe they have a 2.5 GPA requirement, but that would be it for Owens. And Findlay is also the same. They are waiving their test score requirements. So if you wanted to apply to Findlay, all you would need would be that 2.5 cumulative GPA, and just apply online. When you're applying online to these different colleges, there is a separate application for College Credit Plus students. So make sure when you go to apply, there should be something that says, you know, College Credit Plus, and then you can pick which semester you're applying for, likely the fall of next year, and get all that taken care of. Again, if you need help with that, come see me and I will help you with the application process. Okay, so what do we need to do to be in the CCP program? 1, attend the CCP meeting. That's what this is. We're finishing that up right now. 2, return the intent to participate form. I didn't fix that. It's supposed to say May 1st because it got extended this year, but get it to me by May 1st. Like I said, that's the one we want to get turned in as soon as possible. Even if you're just thinking about it, return that intent to participate form. I emailed that to all the students that would need it. Apply to the college of your choice. Once you finish that up, meet all your requirements and your deadlines, meet with your admissions advisor over at whatever college you would like to attend, get that schedule set, and we'll go from there. Again, if you have questions, give me a call, come see me. We can meet face to face. We can talk over the phone. We can talk over email. Parents, students, both welcome. And if this is something you are going forward with, I would say, you know, make sure, like you said, like we talked about before, you are thinking about the things we talked about. What are my academic goals? Am I independent, driven, and organized enough to handle this? Am I mature enough to handle this? And good luck. Thank you.